Ahoy!
Ahoy!
Welcome back to Girl Historians.
I'm Carly,
I'm Blair.
and this is the comedy podcast where we talk about history and our girls.
And today we are covering the Chappaquiddick incident and / Ted Kennedy.
Huge.
Yeah, this is also going to be a test of my just pronunciation. I'm always struggle busing with pronunciation anyway, and this one's a real test.
Because you were such a well-read child.
I'm such a well-read child, I can pronounce anything. That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's how they
if
say it.
If you read something, you know how to say it. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, that's
and
famous.
Perfect. And we're seeing Cat's Eye tomorrow, which we were just discussing.
Oh, so huge.
I can't wait.
I literally can't wait either. I have a million questions about it. I can't. We'll obviously have to debrief after we see them.
It's at a really weird place. It's at a casino.
The Great Canadian Casino. Yep.
Sure.
I had an Uber driver like a year and a half ago who was talking about it because I guess the guy who built it or owns it or whatever was in the Uber before me. And it's basically meant to be like a mid-tier concert venue because we don't really have a lot of there's no in between like Annabelle's or Mod Club history and Scotiabank.
Yeah, well, because sometimes you do see artists going through and you're like Olivia Dean is playing the Scotiabank.
At Scotiabank, I know. I'm going to get tickets and I'm like, I feel fine about that. I think I can get tickets to Olivia Dean at Scotiabank. I think I'll manage.
Well, it's the same because we're going to go see Demi Lovato, which I have to get tickets for today, actually, because I'm on Saturday. Because Adele's opening.
It's on Saturday?
Oh, no, it's on a Monday in April.
Oh, okay, good.
I think we can probably make it work.
Oh, and hey, good. Awesome. I know. I can't wait to see Adele. I'm so excited. I love going to concerts and being way more excited about the opener than the regular. I'll be happy. I will happily bop my head around to Cool for the summer. You know what I mean? I'm happy to be there, but I'm more excited about Adele than Demi Lovato.
Oh yeah, I'm there for Adele, and if she doesn't have merch, I will jump.
She's gotta have
onto
merch,
the ground.
Right?
She's gotta have merch. There's no way she doesn't, because I want one of those shirts. Her merch is so cool. It says doesn't work well in groups.
If you know,
very
you know.
T. If you know, you know.
Very T.
From Dream Pop Star Academy.
Of course. And this is, I really do feel like the fact that maybe one of my favorite, I feel like the fact that I am constantly kind of caught in drama between two people that hate each other is evidence enough by the fact that I feel like my bias in Cat's Eye is Manal and I love Adele. You know what I mean? And they don't actually beef, but you know what I mean? I'm like that. I do feel like for sure that is my life. I am caught between two people who have had beef before, who are just can't, you know.
Yeah, well, because I remember when I was getting into Adele, you were like, I don't know if I can because I'm such a Manon girl.
Yeah, and then I realized, then they kind of talked about it, and they're like, we're good. We're fine. Which makes sense. It's imagine a movie coming out about beef we had 3 years ago. And I'd be like, I don't even remember what the fuck I was going on about.
I don't remember why I was mad.
No, it's so easy to squash it because you're like, girl, I seem crazy. I don't know what's going on.
Well, yeah, that's the worst thing about having beef with someone is having to remember what it was about.
And you're like, yup, wouldn't do it now.
Yeah.
Hey.
And it's something else happened, but I don't really remember what.
I think it was actually at its core about her feeling left out, but that wasn't really how it manifested.
Yeah.
I think her friend and I didn't get along, and then you have to reverse engineer what the beef was actually about, and you have no information.
I was recently in a situation where I had to recount the gay guy drama that happened at my university. And I feel like there's, no matter what, if you're in any type of circle with queer people, there's gay guy drama. And it's involving anywhere from 3 to 12 gay men. And
there's dynamics.
Life ruining. People stop talking.
Honestly, we do need a Shakespeare retelling. Maybe a Macbeth or a Julius Caesar, someone get on it.
Yes.
That's about the dynamics of those groups because they're so juicy, they're so complex. Because it's it really is what if there is beef that is built on the pillars of community? They have to fuck with each other because community, because sisterhood. You know what I mean? But then also because of trauma, they're all insane.
Oh, for sure. And they all love each other a little bit too much.
It's
There's
hard,
a little bit too much hooking up going on.
Yeah.
But I was like, I genuinely, gun to my head, can recount maybe like 1%
Oh
of
yeah.
what went on, and I can kind of remember who was mad at who. And it all goes so fast, and it's like, well, I remember I'm on team this person, this person, this person, but I can't remember why.
This is
Like,
World War I, babe.
yeah,
This is
exactly.
World War I.
Can't remember how we got here, but now we're
I
here.
guess because I have an alliance with Grayson, I fucking hate Mark. Even though
Yeah.
me and Mark are fine, I guess.
Yeah, Mark and I actually had really really special bond, but after he
But
hooked up with Kyler, we no longer talk.
yeah,
Like crazy,
we don't
crazy
talk
shit.
anymore. Yeah.
We don't
It's
talk
fun.
anymore.
It's fun. It's fun to recount drama. I love because I have a couple like friendship, like crazy friendship breakups
Mhm.
within like people who are randomly in the public eye in random ways. And so then when I've dropped the lore that I had a huge friendship breakup with them, and people are like, "Why?" And I try to remember, I'm like, we were just kind of crazy. Like really, what it was at its heart was nobody had any skills. Like
Yeah.
now, I would have the skill. I just have way more. I don't even know perspective to be like, I can be upset, I can vent, I can shit talk, but can be like, either this is something that's going to change, this is behavior that's going to change, therefore I don't need to do anything, or this is behavior that's not going to change unless I do
Mhm.
something, so I should do something. Where back then I was just like, you disrespected me, you disrespected my family. Like it's just stuff where it's like, girl, chill out, chill out.
Yeah. Well, there's like so many things, and like it's so funny because like obviously I wasn't in the Toronto comedy scene as like a young. Like I kind of arrived when I was like already in my mid 20s. So I
Yeah.
was like kind of saved from that. I did all that in Kingston, Ontario. But like there's so much where it's like I'll hear about like two people who like just despise each other. I'll be like, "Oh, why?" They'll be like, "Well, um then like I don't want to say like specific things to dox anyone, but then it's like, well, they went to Wonderland and two of them made out."
Yeah.
And it's like, so wait, how did that end up now, like 10 years later? You guys hate each other. You know
Or
what I
on the
mean?
opposite end of the spectrum is like a crime. Like it's either like something
Yes.
that barely makes any sense. They're like, oh, they had a 15-year-old girlfriend, and you're like, wow,
Whoa.
okay,
Whoa. All right.
hey,
Drop that out of nowhere.
yeah, a lore dump if I've ever heard one.
Mm-hmm,
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of beautiful how that happens. That's why I think it's important to go to college. So then you're in a place where you just like there's really an age cap and an age like minimum,
Yeah,
and you can just kind of spin out with
it's training
teenagers or
wheels.
30-year-old men around.
Yeah, it's important
Yeah.
to have a beautiful space where you can grow that's separate from 30-year-old men. Nothing but love and light. Some of my best friends were 30-year-old men, but I don't think I should have been coming into my own around them.
No.
You know, that was not amazing.
Yeah. Well, also, like, I feel like with a lot of my friends, like, now that they're all like 30 or approaching 30 or whatever, and it's like, I feel like I'm holding my breath a bit where I'm like, hope you get through this.
I know. What if, though?
We're in the most dangerous timeline.
I know. I always think about like we watched Worst Person in the World the other day, and they have a
Mhm.
scene in there where like she's the young girlfriend hanging out with her older boyfriends, like friends and their wives. And I'm
Yeah.
like, bitch, I know I'm gonna be one of these wives where I'm gonna have
Oh,
my
sure.
my sensible haircut and be like, what's going on here?
Mhm.
Like, I was thinking about this the other day. I started reading The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie.
Okay, love. Never heard of it.
It's like a Maggie Smith movie. I was reading an interview with Zadie Smith, and she was saying it was like one of her favorite books. And in the same interview, she also says that she doesn't like getting older just because she loved being young so much. And I think I have a disconnect with this book. 'Cause it's basically about these like truly middle school or girls from middle school to high school, and their teacher is kind of like a sex positive kind of unorthodox teacher or whatever. And it's interesting enough. It's
Yawn.
120 pages, so I'll finish it. But I did not like being young. Like, I think I would have a lot more of a connection to this story if I in any way enjoyed being a middle schooler or a
Sure.
high schooler at all. But I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't care about the interior lives of children.
Mhm.
I don't think it's that interesting in and of itself. I think you need to have a plot. What the fuck? I don't care about this. So it's kind of like I'm waiting for them to become adults so I can give a fuck. And I'm like, oh, it's
Sure.
because I don't have a connection to youth in that way. So when I do feel that fear of aging in the way that I'm like, I don't want to be the titular, like the age appropriate wife of the friend of the guy dating a younger woman and the younger woman's like, what is Carly thinking about me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. But again, that's a choice. You know what I mean? You don't have to become you know what I mean? You could just be like, I don't want to deal with this at all.
You don't have to be a judgy bitch.
Yeah. But I am like, well, I'll probably like being older. Because I definitely didn't like being young. Every time I get older, I'm like, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. Every year, I'm like, another one, thank you.
Another one,
thank you. It's great.
Well, yeah, recently, like, because I've been loving just in general, Rachel Sennett's press circuit has been fantastic.
It's been not so inside baseball about PR, but like amazing. I'm like, fantastic. who's doing this PR? I want to know.
This is stunning. But one of the things that she said that I was like, I'm so glad that there's someone like in the public eye saying this, where she was just like, every year has gotten better for me. I'm always so happy to be getting older. And it's so nice in the way that like, even I love LA, which jury's still out, full disclosure for me.
I haven't watched the second or third episode yet. I've only seen the pilot.
I haven't watched the third episode. I mean, the third episode came out yesterday. You know what I mean? I think, here's my hot take. I like when they do like an HBO weekly release. I think it builds up hype. I think that the episodes are just like, they should be 45 minutes or they should be dropping 2 at a time.
Two at a time is huge. I think 2 at a time is huge because you can then sparse it out. You can spread it out during the week. You're not just like,
yes.
Help me, Lord.
A half an hour episode drop once a week. It's kind of like, it's kind of got to be a sitcom if you're going to do that. You know what I mean? Like there's not enough like,
because you're not building
lines. Yeah. Like I'm trying to get invested in the characters, but I've been loving her press tour for that. It's just like, she's not someone who, and I even think like the kind of like generation of like, young millennial, like late Gen Z, like filmmakers and actors right now are really not romanticizing youth anymore, which is really nice.
No.
Because it's true. It's like it does kind of suck. And for so long we just had like a lot of media about how it's like the best time of your life and you're never going to be able to go back. And it's like I can romanticize that as much as I want, but I had a panic attack every day from like 16 to 25. Like,
oh my God. I was thinking about this because we both have been rewatching separately Pop Star Academy in preparation of the Cat's Eye tour. And they're all so young. And you realize that the older girls are the only girls that kind of get in there. And like somebody like Manon, who like didn't quote unquote work as hard as the other ones, is also just a person who's like, this situation is very predatory. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or someone like Adela, who was also older, who was like upset that she was cut and basically kept on to eliminate in a survival show, right? Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, the power that comes with age, and obviously it's funny talking about this because I'm 26, which is very not old at all, but like every year I get older, the more power I feel because I'm like, I have the ability then to be like, no, I don't want to do that. I'll do that. Like you're just so lost when you're younger, or at least I was, and so kind of able to manipulate. Like you're so much easier to get preyed upon, you know, which is like duh. Yeah, that's why like grooming happens. No duh. Cracked it, guys. Figured it out.
Nice. You got to send that to the cops,
guys.
So they know what to look for.
I've made huge strides on why grooming happens. It happens to younger women because you can manipulate them.
What?
And the cops are like, what? Whoa. Wait, we got to try this.
Cops would be shocked though.
Yeah, the cops would love that shit. They'd be like, wait a second, let me get on the apps. But you do just realize that as you get older, you're like, damn, anybody who wants to date like an 18-year-old and they're older is like a freak.
Yeah.
Like y'all are freaks.
Yeah. Well, there's even like, we're discussing this lately, but like where to cut off ages for people. Like, do you think if you're 26, you can date a 23-year-old?
I mean, I have to say yes.
I think yes.
Because, you know.
Well, you have a problematic age gap relationship.
So I have to stand. I think that's not only good, I think it's brave.
I think that strong people do that.
What if she's mature for her age? That's
and
real.
A YouTuber.
What if she's a YouTuber, so it's fine?
What if she's a YouTuber?
And I wasn't a YouTuber when we got together, but in my soul,
it was like a glint in your eye.
But you could see the twinkle in my eye of my YouTube career.
And that's the truth, is that you can always tell when someone's going to be a YouTuber.
Honestly, probably true.
But yeah, what else is... Oh my God, I finally watched A History of Sound. Have you seen this?
I haven't.
It's really good. It was kind of giving Brokeback Mountain, I will say.
In a positive way?
You know what? Like, it was really well done. I did really enjoy it. I really do love ethnomusicology, which is kind of a theme in it. Which is like kind of like the study of music as it relates to like societies and whatever. And in a big part of the movie is them going around and collecting these like American folk songs, right? Like history of sound, whatever. And I do think that's really cool. And probably if I'd known about it, I would have maybe gone into that. It's fun to find careers that you would have been really into when it's just like certainly far too late.
Well, hey girl, you could retrain.
I don't think so. But it reminded me of, and most like but like Paul Mescal's so good. The other guy, the one from Challengers is so good.
Oh, Josh
like,
O'Connor.
Josh O'Connor. And like it was really beautifully done. I watched it with Christina, who wept for an hour afterwards. Like I thought she was going to throw up.
Does one of them die of like AIDS or something?
No, it's too early. I don't want to spoil it. But like, I mean, it's a gay movie, so there's going to be a death.
Somebody's got to get hit by a car or some shit. They can't just get old together being gay. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole idea of collecting like old folk songs on music, like on wax cylinders is very cool. And it reminded me of Jeremy Dutcher's album. Do you know Jeremy Dutcher? Canadian musician. I actually met him once. Very nice guy. But he's really cool. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce his album title, but I'll put a picture in it for the video. And he is like a Canadian Indigenous singer. And for his album that was released in 2018, he got these wax cylinders. That was someone who did what they did in History of Sound. They went around and collected like Indigenous songs that weren't written down, like as sheet music. Like they collected them on these wax cylinders. And he took a bunch of wax cylinders and like listened to these Indigenous songs and kind of translated them into this like modern Indigenous kind of like pop vocal album. And the album is just like stunning. It's so freaking good. It won the Polaris. Love the Polaris. But yeah, I was like, oh, this is so cool. So anyway, I just remember I was thinking about that and I was like, what a beautiful way to like preserve music when it's not passed down in sort of this like Western way of like like writing it down and having to learn how to read sheet music and stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, very cool. That's my History of Sound.
I love that.
Bite. But yeah, it was very good. I would watch it.
I will. It sounds really interesting. It's on Mubi?
It's on Mubi. I have a 7-day Mubi subscription that I am like my free trial that I am blowing through because they are
complicit in genocide.
Complicit in genocide, so I don't want to give them any money. Wig! So I've just been kind of pounding the Mubi catalog.
Yeah. You're like, well, when it's free, I've got to, you know. You got to take from them. You have to take from them.
That's what I'm saying.
You've got to hit them where it hurts, Blair.
Hit them where it hurts. And they're going to really miss out on my $21 a month.
Yeah, they're going to feel that shit.
I also watched The People's Joker. Have you seen this?
No, I've heard about it, though. This is about a trans woman who's a Joker. Is it on the movie?
Yeah.
I got to get my movie free trial.
You got to get your, like, pick a week where you're going to have time to just watch, like, a bunch of movies in a row and pound that movie free trial. I got to stop saying pound. But
no, pound it.
People's Joker was crazy. It was
I've heard it's really, really good.
I really enjoyed it. There were like parts during it where I was like, I don't know about this, but I thought it was very in the tradition of like something that would be played like as a double feature with like Repo the Genetic Opera, which is like the kind of stuff I would watch in high school. You know what I mean? Like
totally.
So I really liked that and would highly suggest The People's Joker.
Watch.
But it is kind of like I watched it alone and Christina would come in and out of the room and she was like, what's this about? And I was like, I can't. I literally, no idea. Being trans. I think. But like, could not be.
Yeah, that could be my own biases.
Yeah, I could be reading into this totally wrong.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I got nothing new. My brain is dead. I told you I've been feeling sick the last couple days. I did put up my Christmas decorations.
Your apartment looks adorable right now.
So that's fun. Having complicated feelings as always about life, but that is the beauty of being human.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, and it's a gift.
It's a gift to feel, you know? At least I'm feeling something.
Yeah,
So I
literally,
guess it's
dude.
fine.
Literally, dude.
But all things considered, okay.
Well, that's beautiful. Yeah, I think it's good for us to have like kind of like a really kind of like gut wrenching conversation right before we start recording. I think it's
And then we
that's
talk
the
about Chappaquiddick, yeah. We're like, relationships are complicated. Anyways, Chappaquiddick.
Chappaquiddick, Ted Kennedy. So, well, we can just get into it if you want.
Let's hear it. Yeah, give it to me.
Sick. We'll take a little break and then we'll dive in. Yeah. Okay. And we're back.
Yeah.
Boom. If I drop out, I may have to flip my citrus again. I'm making a citrus garland. And guys, I told this to Carly already, but truly they are so wet. I can't
wait.
see a vision of them ever being dried out at the current state they're at. I don't know if I'm doing
how many
something
oranges
wrong.
did you use?
Like I just did 1 orange and 1 lemon, and then I have a grapefruit and some pumpkin going in next.
Oh, I want
Yeah,
to see what
'cause
this looks like.
I know. I don't know if the pumpkin's gonna work. It's kind of an experiment, but I was throwing out my pumpkins and I was like, what if I tried to dry out like little star shapes, you know,
Aw,
made with pumpkin? I don't know.
that's cute.
I'm in a psychosis. It's cool.
But this is beautiful. And I bet
Thank you.
I'm looking at pictures of it now, just like different kinds, and I like the different colors and stuff. The grapefruit with like an orange and other stuff.
Yeah.
How are you gonna
right?
put it through? Like, how are you gonna?
I have a like a yarn needle. People do it when it's dry. I don't know about the pumpkin. The pumpkin I might make a little poke through
Yeah.
now. But yeah, I don't know. People do. This is a big experiment for me. Anything could happen, but
That's exciting.
I embarrassingly had to order twine on Amazon because the way I checked 5 different stores and couldn't find twine.
I love that stuff. Amazon is absolutely decimating, I feel like, little shops that sell anything anymore, because now I feel like there's no little, like, I don't know where to get stuff.
Well, yeah, I was like, where would they even sell twine? Like,
Twine is tough.
I know. It's so weird. Like, the only twine I could find was like really, really thick, kind of nasty. Like, I was like, that's too much. I was like, I guess I could use thread, but I feel like the thread is easy to break. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to live this life.
Rope. Weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Huge moment. So, anyways, you might have to take a break to do that.
I might have to take
a Chappaquiddick.
Yeah. So today we're talking about the Chappaquiddick incident / Ted Kennedy. Carly, I feel like because this is a bit of a kind of like it's kind of a thing that like isn't like did happen, but is kind of a thing of urban legend. Do you know what do you know about the Chappaquiddick incident?
I know basically nothing. This is a Kennedy that I don't know a lot about. The family is so fucking big that I don't know a lot about this. So I don't remember. I'm interested if you tell me if it might unlock some stuff in my brain.
Sure.
But I don't know anything about it.
Okay, I respect the hell out of that. It's so funny because like I'm doing research on Ted Kennedy. There's so many things that are like the worst Kennedy, the hated Kennedy. Like people don't fuck with this guy at all. So just for like a little overview, Ted Kennedy or Edward Moore Kennedy was born February 22nd, 1932, and he died August 25th, 2009. And he was a United States Senator from 1962 until his death in 2009. So this guy was on the Senate for what, like, like 56 years?
That's peanuts as far as the U.S. Senate is concerned, though, bro. Y'all need term limits. Not to get into it, but what the fuck is that old folks? Not even to be ageist, but I'm like, you can't have 90-year-olds running the goddamn country, y'all.
Well, I think that's like not even ageist. It's just like, why would you at 90 years old want to be going to Senate to make your fucking decisions?
The only answer is you're addicted to power. And I know that the listeners of Girl Historians are not responsible for this, but it's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Listeners of Girl Historians, you could you could write some letters. We're not American. And Canada famously has no problems.
No, perfect country. Don't look into our history, please. Everything was always good. We did amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It was basically a perfect country, past, present, future. So
pretty much in every way. So Ted Kennedy, he was born, he's the 9th child of the Kennedys. He's the youngest.
okay. So he would be low-key crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, and that's such a piece of like oh my god. Like a piece of context that was so kind of clarifying to me in a way, because it was like, oh, he was born when like his oldest brother was what, like, yeah, he would have already been in like high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a skill testing episode for us.
Yeah. We also have to talk about really quickly, we didn't talk about Jack Schlossberg Senate announcement or Congress.
I'm obsessed.
He's running. We're gonna have, is it Camelot? Do I always call it Babylon and this Camelot? Yeah.
Camelot,
yeah,
yes.
Yes.
I doubted for a minute.
Modern day, we're gonna have maybe a Kennedy congressman. He's running in. We were looking at it afterwards after I saw it. He's JFK's grandson.
Stunning.
It's gonna be interesting because he's running in basically one of the safest Democratic seats in the country, so he might not even win the primary. So it'll be interesting to kind of see like if the Kennedy machine still exists and is behind him, because if that's true, you know, this was the same kind of narrative that they were talking about when JFK was running for his congressional seat. Like, they'll pick the seat carefully,
Yes.
I think, but people are like, he might not even win the seat. But that kind of leads me to believe, like, that's the narrative. He's JFK Jr., you know.
I feel like he's gonna get it. I don't know. I think he's got like a good enough reputation, and the only thing I could see is like RFK kind of getting in the way. But what are you gonna do about that, really?
I mean, he comes for RFK Jr. Like, he really does say like
exactly
crazy shit about art, which is like true stuff. But he's like, they've caged a rabid dog that's killing itself and other people, by the way, like crazy shit. And but I don't know. That's all. That's just, we're talking about the Kennedys. We have a Jack Schlossberg congressional run announcement. Huge.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I do feel like we influenced it. I don't know how,
Honestly,
but I feel like we did.
No, it feels like we kind of put the Kennedys back into the conversation. I have a person who follows me on Instagram who is writing a Kennedy book, like who is writing
stunning.
And they were like, you have to keep the podcast going until April when the Ryan Murphy Caroline Kennedy series comes out. And I'm like, girl, well, we'll obviously have to do a watch along, but I don't know how much more we can talk about the Kennedys for a calendar year.
I know, I'm starting to lose my mind. I don't know how we're gonna end the Kennedy series.
Well, what comes next?
What
comes next?
Like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
It's gotta be quick. It's gotta be a reaction to the Kennedys, which was so long. And it's gotta be something where it's like kind of like the Wives of Henry VIII being like, we've got 6 episodes in the can, babe.
Yeah, like we're cooking. We're cooking.
This is a short moment in human history. This is not
this is a flash in the pan.
Yeah, we need a flash in the pan for sure. Maybe like, what's that blimp that exploded? The Hindenburg.
The Hindenburg. Well, yeah, because I even think like, because this is the last real episode we're doing till the new year, because now we're doing 12 Days of Icons again.
Insane.
Which is going to be fun. I feel like we might cook up some new ideas with that, which is fun. I've got 3 of my icons confirmed, and they're pretty fun.
Okay, I've got to start thinking of mine.
Yeah. Mine are like more unhinged than last year.
Okay. Yeah. Mine were pretty unhinged last year.
Yours were really good.
So I've got to top that somehow.
Yeah, exactly. So by the time Ted Kennedy was born, Joe Kennedy Jr., the like oldest son, was like 17 years old. JFK was also like they were like, there were 17 years between the oldest kid and the youngest kid. So all that to say is that like the world that Ted Kennedy grew up in was very different from the world of like that we explored with JFK, that we explored with his older brother, with all the older siblings. Like they were like a very established like political family for like a lot of his actual like
he's growing up in like the
memory.
Full ass spotlight in a big way.
He's growing up in Camelot. Like he's not really building it. Like he's there.
Yeah.
And when I say growing up, I'm also including like, you know, his like young adulthood.
Yeah.
he gets married to a lady named Joan. I didn't really do too much research on her because truly, guys, there's just so much stuff about Ted Kennedy and the Chappaquiddick. But basically, he was married to this girl named Joan. They kind of had a bit of a tenuous marriage. He was kind of like pressured into marrying her when he was like 26 years old, which is kind of weird.
You know, that's a great time to do it.
It's really good. Yeah, just like right as your frontal lobe's developing, just kind of like get pushed into something you're not really sure about doing.
Honestly, my mom has been sending me, just being like, look at this engagement ring I found. And I'm like, girl, get real.
Oh, yeah. My mom gave me my grandmother's engagement ring a couple of days ago. And I was like,
chill out. Act cool. Act cool. Don't just be like,
reel it back.
When I was getting my watch resized, look at all these engagement rings. Which one would you like? Girl, chill out.
Just like, how many times do you need to get your watch resized, Mom?
Girl, you're back there again.
But yeah, so Ted Kennedy married to this lady named Joan.
Double indemnity.
And they were bit of a tenuous relationship. There's like the famous clip from his wedding. Basically, he got pressured into this marriage, and it almost seems like, you know, the rest of the family was married and they got to wait until they were like in their 30s and whatever. And so they were kind of like, oh, well, like, you're kind of the last single Kennedy brother. Like, you got to get a wife, even though it was like the timeline was like way accelerated for him for like some reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, little bit weird. So married to this lady named Joan. We kind of said that during like the JFK and Jackie episodes that like when they had their wedding, they wanted it to be private, but there was like a lot of paparazzi there. By the time Ted Kennedy was getting married, it was like they literally had like full movie cameras, like big light.
Like he didn't have a chance. Do you know what I mean? Like, why would that person be normal?
Yeah, exactly. So they also, like, during the wedding, all of the bridal party wore literally like lav mics, like they were mic'd up so that the wedding video could have sound.
Amazing.
And that's how we got this like clip of JFK saying to Ted Kennedy at his wedding, like, hey, well, like, you know, as Kennedy men, you know, like you get a wife, but then we always have women on the side.
Babe,
in the wedding video?
Babe, you're on the mic. It's funny that it's so true. Like the editor kept that in. Like, that's whack.
Yeah, that's messy. Like, you could have cut that in post.
You know, I always think about that, where it's like there's been times where because people now are addicted to clipping comedy shows for, like, Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll do a comedy show and be in the green room and have your mic on. And I'm like, bro.
Horrifying.
Bro, I'm going to say something crazy.
Horrifying. I'm terrified of wearing a mic. I talk so much shit that I don't mean, you know? Like, I don't fuck with it. So Ted Kennedy married to this lady named Joan. At one point, he is in a plane crash. Would have been awesome if I looked up the date for that. But
but you know, hey guys, life is full of disappointments.
Life is full of disappointments. And if you're coming to Girl Historians looking for dates and times, good luck. But he was in a plane crash. Yeah.
For the next season. Maybe not the next season. But another season. It would be funny, I think, maybe not next season, but eventually, to revisit Titanic, do it again.
Just redo the whole thing.
But like, do it how we would do it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now that we're grown.
Now that we know how to do the fucking podcast.
Titanic Part 2.
Be interesting.
Yeah, why not? We'd be less scared. Sometimes I listen to the old episodes and we sound really scared. Okay, so June 19th, 1964 is when he crashed his plane. He was not expected to survive. He broke his back in 3 places. He broke 3 ribs. He collapsed a lung. They told Joan, his wife, that if he survived, he would be a paraplegic. And then he just got better. So
he went, I lived, bitch.
Yeah.
Surprise, bitch, that you thought you saw the last of me.
There is a, like, thing about Ted Kennedy where it just seems like no matter what, he prevails, even though, like, why the fuck would he need to prevail?
You know how we say that I'm kind of JFK vibes? Hurt tummy, don't want to work too hard. I feel like maybe you're Ted Kennedy. You're like, built to last.
Oh no, don't say that.
What does he do? What is Chappaquiddick?
Okay, so now we get into the Chappaquiddick incident. Now that we have a little bit of context of who Ted Kennedy is, et cetera, et cetera. So, in 1968, as we know, Bobby Kennedy is assassinated. Okay?
Yep. By Sirhan
In-
Sirhan.
By Sirhan Sirhan. And he dies. So you have to think Ted Kennedy is now seen, his two brothers assassinated. He's the last remaining Kennedy boy, which is.
And wig. And wig.
Yeah.
To that I say wig.
And that I say wig, to just be like, yep, they died. Cool.
Guess I am going to be normal about everything about this feels great. By the way, loving this. Loving this vibe. Not tragic at all.
Not worried, not worried. So a year later, after the assassination, on the night of July 18th, 1969, Ted Kennedy attends a party on Chappaquiddick Island, just off of Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. So it's like a little island.
Yeah, when I grew up in the States, let me tell you, the whitest people you've ever fucking heard of in your goddamn life would summer there. Rich. I think it's what the Summer I Turned Pretty is based off of. Like, I think that's like actually Cousins is supposed to be like kind of a Martha's Vineyard vibe.
Sure. That makes sense. I don't know nearly as much about this as you would, but
you shouldn't. Why would you? You know what I mean? Like, why would you?
Yeah, just everything about it is like, all right. So yeah, the other thing of context to note is that this same weekend, the moon landing's happening.
Obsessed. So that means this same weekend is when the end, i.e. the beginning of Merrily We Roll Along is happening.
Yeah, so Merrily We Roll Along is ending
if you guys are
beginning.
You know how we were kind of talking about like B-E or whatever, C-E, B-C-E, that kind of thing. If you use the timeline kind of metric of when Merrily We Roll Along was happening or not, this would be happening as Merrily We Roll Along is happening for sure. When so it'd be the end of the musical, but actually technically the beginning of the timeline because it's told in reverse.
Exactly. So, I'm just gonna adjust my. I feel like I have a lazy eye. I'm looking at myself. I'm like, do I have a freaking lazy eye? No,
you're looking at yourself from an angle. You're looking at yourself from an angle. Anyway. So when you look like this, if I'm looking at you like this, it looks like one of my eyes is lazy because my head's like this. But if I look straight on, it doesn't look lazy. I'm telling you a good thing.
Okay, thank you. I did have a lazy eye as a kid. I wore an eye patch like this that had a giraffe on it.
Sweet. That's so sweet. You were such a sweet little kid. I can't think about it.
My mom told me.
It hurts my heart.
My mom told me when I was with her the other day, she was like, well, when we go out, you would be Winnie the Pooh and I'd be Christopher Robin, and like you would refuse to acknowledge like each other as anything else. Like I'd just be like Christopher Robin. I couldn't say ours.
God.
And I'd be Winnie the Pooh, which is a really funny endowment for a kid.
Yeah, but it makes sense. I think I would want to be Winnie the Pooh. It is a funny self-endowment, but I do get you. Like, you don't want to be I never wanted to be a human. Like, I think, you know how people were like, I should have known I was trans because so often when I was a child, like I wanted to be a boy or whatever. I guess I want to be an animal. I'm a furry. I was meant to be a furry. Like, there was nothing I wanted more in the world than to be like, let's play house. I am the dog. I don't want to be the mom. I don't want to be the sister. I would like to be the dog. Let's work on that.
I remember there was a period where at recess, me and my friend would play Pioneers. Whoa. And we were always fucking pregnant. We were always pregnant. I did not like that shit. Never knew who the father was.
I love the way kids play, dude. We used to play military, me and the girls. Honestly, you're feeling kind of the effects of the United States military-industrial conflict.
Yeah, for sure.
The complex happening there. We were in Iraq. We were in Afghanistan.
You were fighting for freedom. You were avenging 9/11. For our freedom.
Had no understanding of kind of the intricacies of that conflict. Didn't need to.
Yeah.
And Reese, very much growing up, had the kind of parents that were like, this conflict, the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, this is bad. We should not be there. My parents were like, yes. Canadian, by the way, being like, my parents were like, war is bad, but
America is the most beautiful country in the world.
We do need to protect our freedoms. We do need to protect our freedoms, and the way to do that is to Slaughter millions of people? Yeah. Probably
And that
for the
makes
best.
sense.
I love that. I am so happy my parents don't listen to this fucking podcast the way I put them on blast. But to be clear, for their real goddamn opinions. Like, let's talk about it.
You're not lying. You're not making anything up. You're just kind of reciting information that's been handed to you.
Well, my favorite thing my parents to do to me is like being like, you're morally superior. And I'm like, I am. Like, you're saying that like it's an insult.
Yeah, like I don't know that that's the truth.
But I just you are right.
Yeah.
I am. So let's talk about it. Anyways, back. That's some family tea for y'all. So it's Chappaquiddick.
Yeah, and thank you for that. So they're on Chappaquiddick Island, which is just off of Martha's Vineyard. And Ted Kennedy is 37 at the time. He's there with his cousin, Joseph Gargan, who's 39. And they plan to race Kennedy's sailboat Victoria in the like yacht club race or whatever rich people do with their boats, because they missed the one the year before because Bobby was assassinated.
Good.
So during this whole thing, they're just basically there for like a weekend away, right? So Gargan, the men don't super matter in the way we're talking about it. I would say if you really care about like the who's who, there's better resources for you. But the idea is that like all the men in the story are like associated with the Kennedys. Either they're their lawyers or they worked on Bobby's campaign or
they're
they
in the
worked
posse
with Ted
in some way. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ted at this time is currently a senator. So he is America. So Gargan rents like the secluded cottage called Lawrence Cottage for the weekend on Chappaquiddick Island.
They're gonna kill a woman.
So Kennedy and Gargan, they have a party at the cottage at 8:30 p.m. on the evening of July 18th, 1969. And it's a reunion for the Boiler Room girls, who are women who served on Bobby's presidential campaign. And they called them they're these women who served on Bobby's presidential campaign. They called them the Boiler Room girls because they literally worked so hard, but they put them in this room that got super hot and had no windows, which is where you put the women, by the way.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, it's a reunion party for these girls. So 6 of the girls attended the party. Mary Jo Kopechny, Rosemary Keogh, Esther Newberg, sisters Nance Lyons and Mary Ellen Lyons, and Susan Tannenbaum. And all were in their 20s, and they were all single. And the men at the party were the crew of Kennedy's sailboats. You know, kind of like Kennedy, as I mentioned, just like Kennedy-related men. All the men were married except for one, and all the wives were not invited to the Chappaquiddick weekend.
Yes, makes sense. That is awesome and makes sense.
You know, when you have a party and the guest list is married men and your 6 20-year-old single female friends?
Ex-employees, by the way.
Ex-employees,
full ex-employees of your family. The dynamic is insane.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So, no notes there. That's great. I'm a big supporter of that. That doesn't feel like a recipe for disaster. You got to turn your citrus.
I know, I got to turn my citrus.
This
guys,
disaster.
Don't worry. I'm leaving the citrus because we're on a roll. And you know what? It's so wet, guys. I think the citrus will be fine. So, basically, what you need to know about Chappaquiddick Island is that it's off of Martha's Vineyard. You can only access Chappaquiddick Island via ferry, which is a crazy place to have a party.
Yeah, but this is okay. So I was reading an article today talking about like book parties and whatever, and they were interviewing this publicist, and she said the best parties are at a place you wouldn't be able to get into otherwise. So being like, if it's at a place that's like, oh, I would have never gotten to go there.
Yes.
You know, you're like, well, I've got to go because I want to be able to see the inside of the Condé Nast building, whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So that's Chappaquiddick Island. Like, you'd be like, well, I've got to go, even though it's a bunch of 30-year-old married men and me and my 20-something girls.
Yeah.
Because
I have to get on the boat.
I've got to get on a ferry. That's very chic. We love a ferry.
You
and I famously love a ferry.
We do love a ferry. I love to get on the boat and hope for the best. So out of the whole group of people, only 2 men intended to spend the night at the cottage. Everyone else was spending the night back on Martha's Vineyard. So everyone else had the intention of getting back on the ferry at the end of the night, going back to Martha's Vineyard.
So who was staying at the cottage?
Just like 2 of the guys.
Okay, so they're all going there on purpose. So they're all like, we're going to go there to party, but we will be coming back. Okay.
Yeah, they're like, we're
And
all
I'm assuming they all
staying.
get to come back? They're all happy and they get to come back and nothing
They're all
happens?
happy. They all come back. Nothing goes wrong.
This is just a story of a really cool party.
It's a
You're just
really
making up an
fun
awesome party. Okay.
So now we get into kind of like where things get a little bit murky. So this is Ted Kennedy's account, unless I note otherwise, and this is kind of the generally accepted story. So he says that at about 11:15 p.m., he left the party to drive Kopeshny, Mary Jo Kopeshny, who was a 28-year-old single lady, to catch the last ferry, which left at midnight.
Okay.
And according to Kennedy, she asked him to give her a ride back to her hotel, and Kennedy asked for like the keys to his car from his chauffeur and like tried to drive her to the ferry. Okay.
Love, you can drive drunk, guys. You can drive a little drunk.
Yeah. So this is now kind of like what has been found out afterwards was that Kopeshny didn't tell anyone that she was leaving with Kennedy, and she left her purse and her hotel key at the party. Okay. So she was like, I'm going back to the hotel without my purse, without my hotel key.
But she also didn't tell anyone.
Yeah. So you see where this starts to get suspicious,
immediately,
right?
it kind of falls apart because like you would take your purse if you were leaving and probably tell people you were leaving.
Yeah. So you see where we're going for this, but let's get through the information and then we can kind of talk because we've got a bit of a.
There's a lot of inconsistencies we got to get through to kind of compare and contrast. Good.
Yes, exactly. So now we get into this kind of. This is so confusing to recount, guys. Stay with me. So the time that the car crashed is unknown. Spoiler alert, the car crashes. There is a conflicting testimony given by Kennedy and then given by a sheriff who said that they saw Kennedy's car at a later time. So Kennedy said that he left the party at like 11:15. This guy
and then got in the car. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, got in the car. And the sheriff says that like he saw the car driving around like past midnight.
Okay.
So Kennedy says that when he left the party, he drove like a half-mile north on Chappaquiddick Road, headed for the ferry landing, and mistakenly made a wrong turn right onto Dyke Road. Ally.
Cool. Where you live?
Where I live, my house on Dyke Road. And instead of going left, staying on the paved road, he turned onto Dyke Road, which was unpaved. There's like a little like wooden bridge on Dyke Road, and it's called Dyke Bridge. Love how many times I'm saying Dyke in this episode. And the bridge didn't have guardrails. So
right, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah, so Kennedy kind of like approaches the bridge. He slams on the brake, loses control of the car. It launches over the like other end of the bridge and plunges like upside down nose first into the channel. Okay. And it flips over and so it's like on the bottom of the channel resting on its roof, and it's like 6 to 8 feet of water. So it's not like super deep, but like it's in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what happens. The car's in the lake. And the story goes that Kennedy was able to like swim free of the vehicle, but Mary Jo Kopeshny dies. So his whole thing is that he said he called her name. He tried to swim down to reach her, called her name a bunch. And then he kind of sat around on the bank for about like 15 minutes. And then he went back to the cottage where the party was happening. He walked like this walk back to the cottage is like a 25-minute walk. Like it's hefty, right? He walks back. He gets like 2 guys who are at the party, tells them to come back to where the crash is. They're kind of calling, trying to swim down to her, but they say like the current's too strong. And so they eventually just like chill.
Cool.
So, also when he gets back to the cottage, he just like collapses in the back of a car for some reason. And is like, oh my God, this crazy thing has just happened, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, normal. So why is he lying? Do you know what I mean? Like, why is he lying about the time? Why is her purse there? Like, what is the kind of, obviously the story classically is like, it's fine. They just got in a car accident. It's tragic. But what is like what's not being said out loud?
Well, this
Allegedly.
is the big...
I will not be sued by the Kennedy family.
Well, this is the, like, official story, right? So,
yeah.
And this is the big question is, like, why aren't things lining up? So he waited, basically, like, until the next morning to report it to the authorities.
Normal.
Which is insane.
Awesome.
So then the story is that these two men drove Kennedy to the ferry landing. All three of them were lawyers, by the way, all the men that were with him. And they kind of like talked about what to do. And the men that were with Kennedy said that they insisted that he tell the authorities. And Kennedy was like, no, no, no. And then the story is that Ted Kennedy then dives into the water and swims across the channel back to where he's staying in his hotel on Martha's Vineyard. Okay. The story is he goes to his hotel room, takes off his clothes, falls asleep. Then later in the night, he puts on dry clothes, leaves his room, asks someone what time it is. They're like, oh, it's 2:30 a.m. And that's his version of events, okay?
Wait. No. Wait. We gotta go back.
No, okay, ask questions, because like...
So, woman dies. He's trying to go down to save her, whatever. Walks back to the house. This is all at night.
Yes.
Collapses.
In his versions of events, this is at like midnight, so to speak.
Does he go to bed, or do they try and go across the street to the ferry at like 2 a.m. that time?
So he drives the car off the thing. He escapes out of the car. She's trapped. He calls her name. He like dives down, tries to get her. He then like hangs around, kind of stressing out about what to do. He walks back to the cottage, gets a couple of his friends. He like has a meltdown in a car. He brings his friends back to the channel where the car is flipped over. His friends kind of call her name, try and dive down, but the tide is too strong
or whatever.
The current's too strong. They can't get to it. They're like, oh, you should report it to authorities. Kennedy, for whatever reason, doesn't. This
is still at like 2 a.m. or something. Like this is like
supposedly earlier. Like this is like around midnight.
Right. Okay.
He then goes to the ferry landing, swims across the channel back to his hotel in Martha's Vineyard.
Normal. Crazy.
Changes his clothes, goes to bed, wakes up a few hours later, asks for the time.
It's 2 a.m.
And it's 2:30 a.m. when he asks for the time.
Okay. Busy night. We talked about Allison's night on Pretty Little Liars, because this is kind of giving that.
It's
like he's in his yellow top. He's in his cunty little yellow top. He's swimming across the channel. He's threatening Arya's dad.
Yes. So then by 7:30 a.m. the next morning, Kennedy was talking casually to people in the hotel and like isn't giving any indication that he's like stressed out or anything. And by 8 a.m., the men had crossed back to Martha's Vineyard, met up with Kennedy. And then a little after 8 a.m., two fishermen on Chappaquiddick Island saw the submerged car, and they notified like the residents of the closest cottage near the scene. So that's the other thing. On his walk between the site of the crash and the cottage that they were partying at, there were like multiple cottages with people with lights on in them, and he didn't go into any of them.
Yeah, because that's my thought process is like if I'm, because I'm not a very strong swimmer, but if I got out of the car, I would probably just like try and find anybody who would be good. Also, again, this is the weird thing about like the people who just kind of act fucking suspicious is it's like just be normal. Like, why would you sit around while someone's drowning? Obviously, if you're lying about a story, be like, no one was awake. And then later they'd be like, some people were awake, but you could be like, oh, I thought no one was awake. That's a better lie than being like, I walked back to the cottage to get my friends. But it's obvious part of this is because he's upset not because a woman has died. He's upset because a woman has died and it's going to jeopardize his career in politics, right? Like,
well, yes, this is kind of
love. So he's like, I can't get other people involved. I've got to get my lawyers involved.
Yeah.
Let me swim across the channel real quick.
So then we have this account that comes from a sheriff on Chappaquiddick Island, okay?
Great.
And this is the start of where it starts to get. I love when the cops have a account to share.
Obsessed. Thin blue line. Absolute.
Thin blue line. So part-time deputy sheriff Christopher Huck left work on Saturday night. He left work around like 12:30 a.m. And he says that around 12:40 a.m. he passes the intersection of Dyke Road and he sees a like
Been there, girl.
car driven by a man with a woman in the front seat. And he said that someone might have been in the back seat, but he wasn't sure. He couldn't see. And they were like passing in front of him. And so he goes kind of like, oh, I think they're probably lost. So he starts to like approach the car. He starts like walking towards the car. And then when he was like 25 feet away, the car like reverses, starts backing up towards him. And then he calls out to offer help. And the car moves forward and veers like back onto Dyke Road, onto like the unpaved road. And so he looks at the license plate and he's like, okay, there's like an L and 2 7s. And that was consistent with Ted Kennedy's Massachusetts license plate, which was L78207.
Damn.
So the sheriff returns to his car.
That's way later than what Ted Kennedy said he was driving with.
Yes.
Mary Jo is her name.
It gives basically like over an hour of unaccounted time in Ted Kennedy's story, if this is true.
Where you could maybe kill a woman.
And then apparently the sheriff also saw like party guests who he asked if they needed a ride and they said no. And the party guests who were asked were like, yeah, we did see the sheriff, but we weren't sure what time it was. And they also said that they saw a vehicle driving on the same road. So that's just, interesting little thing.
No, it's making sure that, the sheriff is at least in some way telling the truth. Like, he at least did talk to people.
Yeah. And the whole part of this is that, like, he actually didn't have any, like, arresting authority, which is kind of funny. He was literally just kind of like, what's going on?
It's like, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't actually do anything.
Yeah. So then, now going back to the next morning, there's the 2 fishermen who find the submerged car. They get like authorities involved, and Edgartown Police Chief Dominic James Arena. He arrived at the scene about 10 or 15 minutes later. He examined the like vehicle. So he got a scuba diver to come by and equipment to like tow the car out of the water. And the scuba diver went down and kind of like inspected it. He found the body in the, in the seat, and the way that she was positioned is her head was kind of pressed up against like the footbed, which is what is like typically seen when someone is like still alive and trying to breathe, because that would have been where like the last pocket of air is.
Oh, so, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, it's dark. So basically, like, if the car is flipped upside down, you're panicking, and so you actually go deeper into the car as opposed to like going to the top of it where the windows are, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So she could have been alive anywhere from like half an hour to like 3 hours more.
Oh my God.
After the car crashed.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Rosemary Keogh, who was another woman at the party, her purse was actually in the front seat compartment of the car, and so they misidentified Mary Jo at first.
Would love that. What if they were like, Carly Thorne has died? I'm like, what?
Huh? Who?
No, I'm good. Oh my God, that's awful though. That is so rough.
So then he hears about this happening. Then Ted Kennedy, he enters the police station at approximately 9:50 a.m. He asks to make some telephone calls, and he asks if he can use, or he said he can use Arena's office. Arena returns to the station at 10 a.m. and he's like, oh, there's been an accident. And Kennedy's like, I know. I was the driver. There was a woman in the car. Arena led Kennedy to an empty office where he could privately dictate his statement to Markham, who's one of the other men there, and he wrote it out. And Arena typed out the statement. But yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, this is so confusing. Are there any questions?
It's not confusing.
It's
not confusing. Okay. No, it's not confusing. I understand. Again, obviously, I had a fucking spin out when we did the first conspiracy theory one, so I get where you're at mentally, but it makes 100% sense. I'm following you.
So then, this is his statement. I'll just read it verbatim. So on July 18th, 1969, at approximately 11:15 p.m. in Chappaquiddick, Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts, I was driving my car on Main Street on my way to get the ferry back to Edgartown. I was unfamiliar with the road and turned right onto Dyke Road, which he spelled like Dyke, the slur, which is also just a funny note, instead of bearing hard left on Main Street.
Drop
Well, I
the
guess
D
the other
slur
guy
in
did,
your
'cause
police. That's so
he's
funny,
just
dude.
reciting this. But I think that's really funny. So he didn't actually
Yeah.
write the slur, but the guy who was
But he
reciting
thought
it
it.
to,
He thought it.
he thought it, and he said, yeah, it's spelt with a Y.
And with a Y, by the way.
Instead of bearing hard left on Main Street, after proceeding for approximately 1/2 mile on Dyke Road, I descended a hill and came upon a narrow bridge. The car went off the side of the bridge. There was one passenger with me, one Miss Mary Blank. He left it blank. He did not know her last name. He didn't know how to spell it, I think.
Yeah.
A former secretary of my brother, Senator Robert Kennedy. The car turned over and sank into the water and landed with the roof resting on the bottom. I attempted to open the door and the window of the car, but have no recollection of how I got out of the car. I came to the surface and then repeatedly dove down to the car in an attempt to see if the passenger was still in the car. I was unsuccessful in the attempt. I was exhausted and in a state of shock. I recall walking back to where my friends were eating. There was a car parked in front of the cottage, and I climbed into the back seat. I then asked for someone to bring me back to Edgartown. I remember walking around for a period and then going back to my hotel room. When I fully realized what had happened this morning, I immediately contacted the police.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, so a lot going on there.
But like, what happened? Like, why did this happen?
Well, girl, that's the question.
Like, was he trying to kill her, or was it an accident and then he just like did nothing? Like, was he? Was there? Are there? There's surely conspiracies that it was planned in some way.
Yes. So I have a few that I want to discuss at the end, but it's just easier if we have all the information because we will want to dive into these. Because they're all insane. Every single one of them is insane. Amazing. So the medical examiner comes to examine Kopeshny's body. He says that the cause of death was accidental drowning, and they asked the district attorney's office on whether or not an autopsy was necessary, and he was told that there was no need of an autopsy because there was no sign of foul play.
Okay.
Yeah, which wasn't great.
We don't love that, you know.
Yeah. And there's like a fair few people who have said very publicly that like Kopeshny would have likely survived if the rescue had been more timely.
Well, yeah. They were saying she was alive for like 2 hours. He had time to walk to the fucking cottage, get all the guys, and do something. That's why it doesn't add up to me also, because it's like, how did he get out of the car that she couldn't get out? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what's weird to me. And obviously you're panicking, whatever. But I'm like, if I'm in the car with someone and I get out of the car, the door is open, right? Or the window's open.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Unless she's like tangled, but she wasn't tangled. Her head was by the footbed. So she wasn't tangled in her seatbelt.
Yes, exactly. So even though he said he tried to rescue her, Ted Kennedy failed to report the incident for more than 10 hours, and an inquest was held in private. That combination of things obviously led to accusations of a cover-up and public outrage at Ted Kennedy, as he the story appeared very much as though he picked a woman dying over ruining his reputation.
Yeah, but you lose either way, bro. Like, if that's the moment, you're like, I'm cooked, regardless.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know what you can do? Try and save the woman's fucking life. Or at least, this is what drives me insane about, like, and I'm not saying he's a psychopath. I'm not. But I was listening to this interview with a psychopath, and they were talking about how one of the greatest misconceptions about psychopaths is that they're all incredibly smart. They're like, some of them are, and they can seem very calculated and callous because violence is more of an option to them than it would be to somebody normal. Like, you can get there a lot faster.
Yes.
But they're not all incredibly, like, in media, it's always like this incredible genius psychopath, because that's scary. But in actuality, it's a personality disorder, all these things.
Yes.
So that puts into perspective the ways a lot of killings happen, because to me, it's like, obviously, and this is a very callous way to think about this, but if I'm like a rich kid, Kennedy, senator, and I'm like, my life is ruined by this thing that's happening, You know what it's going to be more ruined by? The fact that you swam across the fucking channel and took a nap. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So
you should be around a bunch of people seeming very upset. You should be trying to save her, babe. Like, what do you mean? But like, people are kind of dumb, I guess.
Yes, it's it doesn't add up. If it does add up, it's crazy, and if it doesn't add up, it's still crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So eventually there's also more accusations of favoritism in the legal proceedings following it.
Well,
Ted
yes.
Kennedy. Well, yeah.
And well,
Ted
yes.
Kennedy. He pleaded guilty to the charge of leaving the scene of the accident. He received a 2-month suspended sentence, and his driver's license was suspended for a year. And in April 1970, a grand jury declined to indict Kennedy on further charges. Part of the reason for this was that they could not get him on I forget what the term is, but it's like endangerment charges. Like, they couldn't prove that he was like drunk driving. They couldn't prove that he was like doing anything that would have like recklessly caused this. But like, they can't really say that like, oh, it was like an accident. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is just like a very strange story. Like, you can't say for sure that it wasn't just like a horrible accident, even though like it was like that's not the way you act if it's just a horrible accident. But it is like, it's strange.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, sorry, something unlocked for me. Is the reason why he swam over and then stayed the night possibly because he was also drunk? Like, could that also be a thing that people are saying? Okay, there we go. Because I was like, bitch, why are you going to bed? Why are you honk shoeing right now?
Yeah. So, yeah. Basically, yeah. So this derailed his hopes of like ever being president, obviously.
No.
Many supporters was hoping that he would run for president in 1972. But then he didn't. He kind of was like, oh no, never going to. In 1980, he did seek the Democratic nomination, and he was totally defeated by Jimmy Carter, who was like very unpopular at the time. So it was like a very humiliating nomination. And despite this all, he continued to serve as U.S. Senator of Massachusetts well into the 21st century till his death in 2009.
Okay.
Now let's talk what the fuck happened.
Yes, that's what I'm curious about.
So now a lot of this is obviously kind of like conspiracy and cover up and hearsay.
Yes, of course. We'll never know for sure, but like...
So if the story that he's saying is like completely true and we just trust his word that everything he said is completely right, then he was in like such a state of shock from the accident.
Yeah, that he acted strange.
That he acted strange because he was just sort of shaken up and he couldn't really think of what to do. And yeah, I don't buy it.
It's strange. Like, it is strange. It's also weird to me, like, it's just like all of the actions are so, it's just deeply unsatisfying to me. Like, it doesn't make any sense why all this stuff is happening. Why isn't her purse there?
Yes.
Why did you go to bed? Like, all these random things, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So then the other theory is, okay, so like Mary Jo, they tested her blood alcohol level and it was 0.09, which is like not crazy, but she was a very small woman. She was like 5'4", 110 pounds. And as we know from Smart Serve training that I've taken, that's like a much more dangerous. Yeah, she was drunk. So it's not a stretch to say that Ted Kennedy was drunk as well.
Yeah.
He was also like a known drinker. He was known to be reckless. He was known to cheat on his wife. The idea that they left later than was actually said would very much line up with like they were drunk. They went away to like kind of hook up and he crashed the car, got out of the car, found his like lawyer buddies and was like, what do I do? They kind of say to him like, oh, you know, like, don't go to the cops now because like then you'll get like arrested. You're drunk. They'll blame you for it, kind of thing.
Yeah. And that makes sense why her purse wasn't there because they're going to hook up. She wasn't going back on the ferry.
Ted Kennedy, to his credit, has really refuted the fact that like they were romantically linked. He said like, you know, it's kind of disrespectful to her memory as like, you know, someone who I was hooking up with, so to speak.
You know what also is disrespectful to her memory?
Letting her die.
Leaving her in a car to die.
Yes.
Taking a quick nap, a little bit of shut eye while she's drowning, babe. That's also disrespectful. Like, now's not the time let's not bring ethics into this, babe.
Yeah. There's so many theories. Another theory is that he was never in the car at all. Right?
Ooh, aliens.
Well, there's
Cuban
a theory
exiles.
that says, you know, when they were driving down the road, then they saw the sheriff approach. He sort of jumped out of the car and said, like, you know, you get out of here or whatever. Like, they're trying to come after me. And Mary Jo drove herself into the water, or one of the other girls drove herself into the water, kind of thing.
Okay.
And he kind of took, and the reasoning behind that is that he took the fall for it because he wanted to ruin his chances of becoming president. Like, he did it purposely because he did not want to be president.
Okay.
I think this is a bit far-fetched, but I do kind of buy that he would have been happy with an opportunity to kind of be like, oh, I can't be president due to this thing that has permanently damaged my reputation.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it was premeditated. Like, I think that kind of implies a lot of premeditation of being like, it would be fucking weird if I was like, oh my God, I just drove this car off this bridge and somebody is drowning. And then somebody's like, I'll take the fall. But it's not impossible. Also, let's say like if you're like chivalrous, still killed a woman, whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, I have the most family connections. Again, the worst thing that's going to happen to me is it's going to ruin my presidential campaign, which I don't want to do. But I have connections. I have a famous family. I have a rich family. I am the person here who will get off for this. Right?
Yeah.
Like, if it's some random
100%.
woman, she could go to jail, but like he would be able to be fine.
Yeah. Or if it was one of his friends that took his car, like we said, like he didn't usually like drive his car a ton. So if one of his friends is driving his car, he's like, well, I'm already associated with it. Let me take the fall because they're not going to put me in jail for life because I'm a Kennedy. You know?
And they might even not believe, like if somebody's like, oh, it's so-and-so in his car, they'd be like, it wasn't him, it was the Kennedy. And it's like maybe sometimes in a way better. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I want to believe that the actual the simplest suggestion is the most correct one, which was that he was drunk. And maybe they were hooking up, maybe they weren't. Maybe because she was drunk, she forgot her purse. Like, girl, been there. But I think realistically, he was drunk. He drove the car, allegedly. Oh my God.
Allegedly. Everything is alleged.
Oh my God. Drove the car off the bridge, talked to his lawyer friends. The lawyer friends were like, do not go now. You are drunk. Go tomorrow and say you were in shock. It'll be fine. And, you know, it's this kind of smaller, chummy northeast town where he already has connections, so he's fine. Because like, how often does this realistically happen with rich kids? Like, a lot. Like, the amount of times like a rich kid like has killed his girlfriend in a drunk driving accident and then been fine is pretty high. Yeah.
Don't love to think about that, but you're very right.
Love it. Obsessed. I love it. I think it's awesome. No, it is dark. It's just also like, and again, I wasn't there. Maybe this is not fair to him to say, but it's also just a sucky reminder that like, there's like a real downside. Like, yeah, and there's a real downside to being around people who don't give a fuck about you. You know what I mean? Like, well, if you're around people who don't give a fuck about you and are just then like this could happen and they're not gonna fucking save you. Like, that's
they're
insane.
Just gonna throw you under the bus. Well, and that's the other thing that you have to remember, right? Is that this guy has lost 2 brothers to assassinations. He's kind of now got all the pressure of becoming like the next Kennedy president that Bobby had. The same way that when Joe Jr. died, JFK became the one who had all the pressure to be president. When Bobby died, it kind of fell on Ted to be like the next president, the next political leader, and he was certain he was going to be killed. Like, the same way that
Oh,
Jackie kind of lived in
and hey,
paranoia.
yeah, like,
Makes sense.
obviously, I would be there
Mhm.
in 1 second. I'd be like, well, first of all, bad things come in threes.
Mhm.
So, 1, 2. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, it makes total sense.
Yeah, so he was very much like, "Why wouldn't they also kill me? They've killed both my brothers. I'm the last man remaining. Why wouldn't they just finish the job?" The same way that Jackie was very afraid of being killed and very afraid of her children being killed. So there is, like, a viable argument that, like, he wasn't really a part of this in the way that the story says, and that he was just trying to get out of being president to kinda, like, tarnish his reputation enough, but still kinda, like,
Yeah,
survive
totally.
through it.
Like, somebody else did it, came back, they're freaking out.
Mhm.
And then as they're all talking together, one of the lawyers is like, well, it would make more sense for, I mean, I guess it wouldn't in this case for it to just be like a man, because in like legal stuff, it's better to be a white woman. You get to slay. They're like, well, she didn't mean to. She was teeny tiny. Why she
Yeah.
shouldn't have been behind a car? Why was she in the driver's seat? But like, it makes sense.
Mhm.
They're all talking. They're all lawyers. This plays to me perfectly. I do believe
Yeah.
whatever whoever did it came back, and all the lawyers are like, okay, well, let me think for a second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like thinking what the actual best thing to do is.
Yeah.
And then if he wasn't involved, him being like, it makes the most sense for me. And they're like, are you sure? And he's like, I don't want to be president.
Mhm.
Again, all of
Yeah,
this is
for sure.
alleged. Like it could just be fucking regular. Like it could just be exactly what he said.
Mhm.
We don't know.
And I do think that the story he gave is viable in a sense. I do think that they were lying about the time. I
Yeah.
don't think that she was ever going to catch the midnight ferry. It just doesn't line up. Why would you also try and catch it without your hotel key or your purse? It doesn't make a lot of sense. There's just a lot going on. Also, just like the whole party just being a bunch of married men and a bunch of single women is weird as fuck. Like,
Yeah, it's a
doesn't make any
cheating
sense.
party. Like it's
It's a cheating
obviously a
party.
party you throw to cheat on your wives. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a cheating party. You don't have to be a
Mhm.
fucking genius to figure that one out. Because also, it's like if they were all not supposed to stay there and go back to Martha's Vineyard, why was she rushing to catch the midnight ferry and nobody else was? You know, like
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, were they trying to stay there? Were they trying to make it back? Like, obviously, like people weren't going to make it back that night. But the other thing I do want to say about the women in the story, particularly Mary Jo, who lost her life that night, she was like the first in her family to go to college. She was like a respected member of the Kennedy team. She helped write speeches for JFK. Like, she loved Bobby. Like, she was totally torn up when he was killed. And like, to reduce her to like a woman that Ted was hooking up with and just kind of left to die without a care in the world is like
It's
horrible
reductive. It's
and
reductive of who she
reductive.
was. Yeah.
And obviously, women don't deserve to die, period.
Huge take.
Even if they don't
Huge
write
take.
speeches. I know I'm really brave for saying that, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I meant to say that at the beginning, but like, she was like
Totally.
a pivotal part of the Kennedy political universe,
Yes.
and just kind of had a terrible ending to her story.
Aw.
Uh women. Yes.
Yikes.
But
Should we do this?
that's
Let's make this tragedy about us.
yeah, let's do it.
Let's make
Let's
this
make this tragedy about
us.
us. The part of
Woof.
the
Woof.
show where we make the tragedy about us.
Don't know if we've ever had that tough of a segue before.
Yeah, I don't know if we even attempted to segue at all. If anything, I think we just kind of muscled through it.
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass. Okay, so I kind of have a two-prong question. One, because I do, and I think you kind of already answered it, but I'd love to know what you think happened that night.
Should I answer that first? Or, no, yeah, give me the second. Give me the second prong.
Yeah, I think answer that first, and then the fun prompt, which is, I would like to know what silly name of a road would you like to die on?
Amazing.
A la Dyke Road.
So, first, I think realistically, it was a cheating on wife party.
Mhm.
Something happened. I don't think they were trying to get the midnight ferry. I agree with what you said there. I think that they were maybe going to hook up. Maybe they were drunk and he was like, there's another ferry or whatever, and there isn't or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't seem out of the ordinary to me. She falls off the bridge. He leaves. And then I think the lawyers all chat and they're like, well, this is going to be bad for your presidential run. And he's like, actually, I don't give a fuck about that at all. They're like, great, then go swim across the channel real quick. Like, go to bed, sleep off your drunkenness, and then go in tomorrow, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened, realistically. What do you think happened? I do think it was him, but
Yeah.
I'm compelled by the theory that it wasn't.
I do agree with you. I think that there is maybe like a kernel of truth to say that he was never in the car at all. But
Yeah.
I do think that like either way, it was his mishandling of the situation.
Yeah.
Hot
Whoa.
take. I know.
Whoa.
I know no one else would say that. But yeah, that's kind of where I land ultimately, which is like unsatisfying. But like, if you're listening, I truly encourage people to listen more of this because like it's actually crazy. And like you could truly go on and on about like the conspiracies and the cover-ups and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
I don't like to fully buy into conspiracy theories, but this is one where I would believe that there was like a lot of fucking behind the scenes shit going on.
Well, there is a kind of thing of like, so now so many conspiracy theories are so politically motivated, so it's not fun to buy in them or even really good to buy into them because so often it's like anti-Semitic or racist or something like that, right? But there are conspiracy theories that are based more on this idea of like the wealth gap, the power gap, the government protects the rich and powerful and leaves the rest of us to suffer, which we know. So I think that like conspiracy theories that relate more to that, you're like, yeah, I think something happened, you know? It's not the thing of like, it's not like the Illuminati is running underneath the airport or whatever, you know? Like there is a truth to it that isn't necessarily objectively harmful like most conspiracy theories now.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, silly road name.
Clit Avenue.
That's good. That's good. I like Clit Avenue a lot. Okay, I feel like it would be like Hanjob Road. Like hand job, but like you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Hanjob Road.
Like, this French or like Dutch like explorer.
Like
Hanjob.
Yeah.
But it's hand job. It's hand job road.
It's hand job road. It's like, you know, it's like Arrested Development, like Anal Rapist, you know, like
I love Anal Rapist.
Hand job road. Yeah.
There is a lane in Toronto called Rains Avenue, but when you're walking past it because of the font, it always looks like Raisins Avenue. And it would also be very funny to be like, she was slain in cold blood on Raisins Avenue.
Yeah. It's like, who named that street that?
So just after the concept of raisins.
Yeah, like just someone was like, I love dried grapes so much. I'm going to name a street after it. There's nothing I love more
than raisins. Let that be said.
Exactly.
Amazing. Thanks for doing this, Blair. And, you know, this is our last real episode for the year. We'll be back with our 12 Days of Icons, if y'all didn't know. We did it last year.
If y'all weren't familiar with the game.
We're going to do 12 episodes, mini episodes over the course of December. Each episode, one of us will break down an icon of history, of time, of culture, of all those things. And then that's it. And then it will be the holidays.
And then we'll be back to business sometime in January.
Yup.
You know how it be.
Definitely. Okay.
And if you want something before then, tune into our Patreon.
Right. If you tune into our Patreon, we'll have bonus content.
Which is cheap for Americans because we don't know how to price things.
We don't understand, guys.
We don't understand.
And I'm sure it's fucking really expensive to other countries, to different countries too. Like I'm sure it's really cheap in some places, really expensive in other places. So if you kind of want to understand the value of your dollar, get your ass to the Patreon and see if it's expensive or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Love y'all. See you soon. Bye.